Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're doing a little bit of a chatty makeup tutorial where I take you through this colorful, fun look and also talk about my experience with the Online Makeup Academy, which is the sponsor of today's video. So the Online Makeup Academy gives you the opportunity to earn your professional makeup certification through an online course. Before we get into the makeup, I wanted to explain why I'm really excited to talk about this with you. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the channel before. I only have a high school education, so I've never been to college or any sort of extra education after that. High school was really hard for me, multiple reasons, but I knew that I didn't want to go to college because I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. No one really told me about other options that existed outside of just traditional colleges or other things that you could do to have a career. And this is just something I would have loved to know about when I was younger. And it was so fun to have the opportunity to experience it and share it with you. This course is available to anyone regardless of your age or education. So I love that they're providing such an accessible opportunity for further education to anyone who wants to apply. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, a topic that I really enjoyed learning about through this course is working with different skin types and sort of how to adjust your makeup application based on that, like the skin needs and everything. And we all probably are familiar with our skin, but even on a daily basis, it could be different. So it's just really interesting to think about your skin on a day-to-day basis of like, right now I have some breakouts, sometimes I don't. How's the skin texture? Is it more textured than usual, or are we looking pretty good? So right now I definitely have some blemishes, uneven texture, so I'm gonna go in with a smoothing primer. And my skin's also feeling pretty balanced. It's already prepped, so I'm not feeling too dry or too oily, so I think a smoothing primer is gonna be a really nice option. This one is from Bare Minerals, just a little sample size. And I'm just gonna put this right in the areas where I feel like I need it, which would be definitely my acne scarring down here, right in the center of the face. Usually we have a lot of texture there. One of my favorite things to do lately is color correction as well, which they had a lot of information about, especially more of like color correction that I wasn't aware of for different skin tones. It's actually really helpful for me to know because then I can explain the color correction to you a little bit easier in some of my future videos. But for me, I'm fair, so a green corrector for any redness is sort of like my best friend, especially these blemishes here because they pull really red. Since my skin is so fair, I'm gonna go in and just correct any areas that are sort of like standing out as some red spots. And I do have these sort of patches of redness, which I'm gonna do a little bit. And right on the sides of the nose, I'm gonna be a little light-handed here. So we could always add more, but it's a little bit harder to tone it back. And I would usually use a sponge for this, but there was so much information about types of brushes and how to use them. And you probably know me, I love using my fingers or a sponge, but sometimes a sponge, because they tend to shear things out, isn't always the best choice, even though I do use it most of the time just because it's really easy for me. So just trying out using different brushes and seeing how that changes the application of things has just made my makeup routine a little more strategic. Next, I'm gonna go in with a fuller coverage foundation because I'm feeling like my skin just needs a little bit extra and I want to use a thin layer. So I'm gonna use my sponge for this. I like to just dab it on my hand and then apply with the sponge. I feel like I get better control with the product that way versus dabbing it on my face, which I tend to do a lot of the time. But I really want to work in thinner layers. That was a big thing I learned too, is working with thinner layers. It's like you can always build things up, but it just gives you a chance to like look at what you're doing to see if you need to add anything or maybe not. As I mentioned, I really enjoyed learning how to do makeup for different skin tones. I just appreciate how many different tutorials they had for every skin tone, for fair, light skin, medium, and dark skin, like within all the categories as well. Color correcting, foundation application, bold lips, eyeshadow, like everything you need to know. Making sure to blend down my neck as well, really taking my time to blend everything. This is something I've heard through a lot of makeup artists and through this course, and if you don't already apply this to your makeup routine, it is such a game changer. But really taking your time, like allotting extra time to make sure that everything is blended and seamless makes such a huge difference with the overall appearance of the makeup. Like just having a little bit more of a critical eye. Like even if you're in a rush, I would always probably perfect the skin as just the first step. So now that I feel like the skin is even out, but it's definitely not cakey. We have a very thin layer of foundation on. Now we still have room for concealer for a little bit more heavy duty coverage on the areas where we need it, which are going to be my under eyes and then those little blemishes. I'm going to be using a shorter, denser brush to achieve more coverage on these under eyes. This is the House Labs concealer, by the way. Now to add the definition back to the face, I'm going to be using this liquid bronzer gel product, which is a much thinner consistency than you may see a lot of people, especially on social media, using like a really thick bronzer or cream, which definitely works in certain situations. But I find for me, being so light, they just give me a little bit more control with things and it doesn't get heavy so quickly. So I think with short form makeup videos especially, they're really great for getting inspiration, but not a lot of the time do people explain why they're using the certain products that you're using or the techniques. So sometimes when we try to just replicate something off of a 10-second video that we saw, maybe it doesn't end up working for us and we're not sure why. So this course just taught me so much about the types of products and why you would choose to use them based off of the skin type, the skin tone, or sort of the goal of the look that you're trying to achieve. One of my absolute favorite things about this course is the fact that you can take it at your own pace, which I think is so amazing that it offers a larger group of people ability to get the certification because you can do it on your own time. It doesn't have to be a set schedule, which for me is so extremely helpful. And I think the fact that it's online as well offers that accessibility to a lot of people who might not be able to go to an in-person school, but you get just the same sort of like attentive experience as you would in a school. At least in my experience, they give you your own personalized feedback. So it would be like if you went in person, when you submit your looks, they'll give you that really helpful information that you need to move on and continue to hone your skills. I went ahead and did a light layer of powder, but also used a little bit extra under the eyes because we're doing bold colors. We want something to catch any fallout. That way it's a lot easier to clean up. I also have my brows done. I found the lessons really easy to follow along with, even doing them at my own pace. And I think they provide such a variety of sort of options to understand the concept. Like even if you don't quite understand the first time, they did such a good job at providing multiple examples and visuals that no matter what type of learner you are, they provide a way for you to understand it in a way that works for you. So I mentioned you can go at your own pace, and that also includes lifetime access to the course, so you can truly take it at your own pace no matter what that looks like for you. There is like no deadline to completing it. When you do get your certification, you get access to up to 40% off some makeup brands. So you get those pro card deals, which I think is a huge bonus because I think we all know makeup can get expensive very quickly. I'm gonna go into this pro pigment palette now and take this sort of darker maroon purpley red, and I'm gonna start building the color on the outer portion of the eye. I love these purpley pink colors. I think they're so pretty. Next, I'm gonna go into this like periwinkle blue shade, and that's going to go right next to the shade we just put down. Now for the inner corner, I want to do a light blue. So I'm gonna go into a different palette and take this light pastel blue here. And this one actually has a little bit of like a purple pearlescence to it. So I think it will tie in really cool with this like purpley mermaid look. I'm gonna take this dark blue shimmery liner from Bare Minerals and pop this on the waterline. Using that same liner, I'm gonna draw a little bit of a wing and then smoke that out with a brush. Now that the liner is blended out, I'm gonna go ahead and do some mascara, and then we will finish up with lips and the rest of the finishing touches. Finishing with some blush to tie in all of these fun colors on the eyes. For lips, I'm actually thinking something a little bit more brown, like this lipstick from Oma Beauty. Love how this shade looks with the eyes, but I want to add a bit more dimension so it's not as flat. So I'm taking a really light lipstick here, just on the center of the lips. I'm also going to top it with this light purple creamy gloss. So this is about our finished look. I love how this came out. It was so fun to be a little creative with these colors and techniques. If you have any questions at all about the Online Makeup Academy or the course, don't hesitate to drop them down below. I will be responding to comments there. I'd also love to know what you think of this look and how it turned out, and maybe if there's anything that you learned throughout this video. But thank you so much for tuning in. There will be 2 videos on the screen here if you want to keep hanging out. I will see you in one of those. Bye.